Hey, third graders, welcome to math today. This is page 319 in your math journal, and look at those crazy shapes. We're going to work on decomposing these figures. So I'm going to show you. Here's the word decompose. This is from our math journal, this vocabulary card. If I turn it over, it tells me that when you decompose, it means to separate or break apart into smaller parts. Okay, so specifically a geometric figure or even a number. Okay, we've broken apart numbers before, right? We have partners that add up to the total or the sum. So we're going to do that with these crazy shapes because we have been practicing finding area of a rectangle. Okay, I don't see any rectangles here, right? These are very different shapes. So what we're going to do to find the area is we're going to break them apart. We're going to break them into smaller pieces. Okay, so I wonder, do you see any way to make this into a triangle or into a rectangle? Right? Maybe we draw a line right here, right? And then we would have this shape and this smaller shape. Maybe you draw a line here, so you have kind of a small rectangle on the top, a bigger rectangle on the bottom, right? Either way, it doesn't matter. However you see that shape, right? As long as you can make it into rectangles, we can find the area of this whole big shape. Okay, remember the other day we talked about taking one rectangle and breaking it into two parts, right? And that is helping us do this today. So when I look at this shape, right away, I see a natural break just right there. Okay, so I'm going to use my green highlighter, and I'm just going to color this side green so you can see the difference in those two shapes. Okay, so I've got a green rectangle, and I've got a white rectangle. Okay, this one is a square. A square is a rectangle, right? It just happens to have all four sides the same size, the same length. So let's figure out what our area is for the green rectangle. Okay, and remember, finding the area, we just multiply those side lengths or the adjacent lines, right? So we're going to draw at the top of our paper. We're going to write that word again, adjacent. That means next to, right? Not opposite, which would be across. Okay, I'm going to zoom that in a teeny little bit for you. Okay, so when we find the area, right, we're going to multiply those two side lengths, right? So we're going to think, okay, here's my green rectangle. One side length, I see 1, 2, 3, 4 squares, and the other side length is 3. Okay, so 4 times 3, you're right, it's 12. So I'm going to write that down here. 4 times 3, right? And that equals 12. What about our white rectangle? Right? If I count, there's 2 on this side. I know it's a square, so I know there's 2 on the other side. So 2 times 2, 2 groups of 2 is 4. I'm going to write that equation down here. And all I have to do is add up the area that I found of my 2 rectangles to find the area of this figure, right? This is not a rectangle. 12 plus 4 is 16. So the area of this figure is 16 square, and we're going to write units. Okay, and I want you to circle that because that's our answer. Sometimes when we write lots of different equations, it's hard to know what our answer is in the end. So if we circle it, that ensures that you can see it and that your teacher can see it. I'm going to make this a little bit darker too, so that you can see the area there. Okay, so we decomposed. We broke that one big figure apart into 2 smaller figures. Maybe, there's a shape where we have to break it into 3 parts or 4 parts to find the area. We can do that too. All right, let's try a couple more. This one kind of looks like an upside down L, right? Maybe you think we should divide it right here to break it apart. Okay, maybe you want to draw a vertical line and you see that it's broken apart there. Okay, either way, we're going to get the same answer. I'm going to do the same thing I did before. And I'm going to highlight one of the shapes, one of the rectangles, because now I can see this is a rectangle, this is a rectangle. Okay, and we're just going to find the adjacent sides, the side lengths, that's another name for them, multiply them to find the area, and then we're going to add them together. So I can tell there's 1 on this side and 3 on this side. So 1 times 3 is 3. And then in the white one, so when I'm doing that, now I want to forget about the green one, pretend that it's not even there. Okay, there are 2 across the top, and there are 4 along the other side. So these adjacent lines, they make up the side lengths. If I multiply those together, 2 times 4, 2 groups of 4, or 4 groups of 2, I'm going to get 8. Okay, so then I can just add 3 plus 8. You got it. It's 11 square units. That is the area of this entire figure. Okay. Let's look at number 6. We're going to hop down to number 6. Look at that crazy shape. Okay. I think if I break it apart here, right, I can get myself a rectangle. Right? Oh, but look at this one is not a rectangle. So I have to do something to that one as well. I'm going to break that one apart right here. So now I can see one rectangle, a second rectangle, and a third rectangle, which is called a square. Okay, so now I'm going to have to do the same thing, but I'm going to have to do it 3 times instead. Okay, I'm just going to color this one in the middle so we can see the difference. Okay, so we're going to call this maybe rectangle 1, rectangle 2, rectangle 3. And remember, we're just pretending that we have one at a time. Okay, don't let that be overwhelming to you that there's 3 of them there. Take a sticky note and cover it up if you need to. Cover it up with your hand. When I do that, I can tell that this side length is 4 and the one on top is 3. I can count those squares. 4 and 3, right? 4 times 3, 4 groups of 3, or 3 groups of 4. What's that going to get you? 12. Okay, so the area of this rectangle is 12. Right? Now the green rectangle. I sort of have to focus on just that part. I can see there's 2 along the top or the bottom. Okay, and how many along the side? Pick one side. Okay, I can see that there are 3. So I'm going to write it just over there. Okay, I don't want to write it on the other side because it's going to be in this rectangle. So what's 2 times 3? Okay, that is 6. Right? Here we've got 2 as the side length and 2 as that side length. We've already done that in problem number 1. We know that 2 times 2 is 4. So now I have to add these 3 areas together to get the area of this entire figure. Okay? We have to stack our numbers, 12, a 6, and a 4. I want to make sure my 1s are on top of each other and my 10s are on top of each other. Okay? Right here, this makes a 10, plus 2 more is 12. Okay, now I've got 2 10s. So I've got 22 square units as the area of this crazy looking figure. Okay, I can check myself and go back and count all the squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Okay, so I know that I did my multiplication and my addition correctly because I got the same number as when I added up all the areas. Okay, so remember that word to decompose means to separate or to break apart into smaller pieces. These look a lot like Legos to me. You're used to playing with Legos and building with Legos, right? So you can compose or build, and you can decompose or take apart. All right, have a great day.